enough with me. I will go ahead and move everything forward to Rachel, of at Rachel of Jakku, and she is one half of the Bitches of Dathomir podcast. Amazing name, love the name.
Thank you.
I don't want to say it's fitting because that would be very mean to say, but I mean,
Yeah.
Bitches of
Uh-huh.
Dathomir, it's A1. I absolutely love that. Who came up with the
Thank
idea?
you. It was actually me. We were
Yes.
trying to figure out a name for our podcast, and there were three of us at the time. And we were throwing out a bunch of different ideas, and one of which was like Jabba the Sluts. And so we're kind of like on that line. Then I realized that we all really love the Witches of Dathomir, and to kind of like go on that whole tangent of being something like the Witches of Dathomir in the name in itself, but kind of like a play on that, and like taking the word bitch, which is typically a derogatory word towards women, and like making that our own, and like, no, we are the Bitches of Dathomir, and kind of like running with it. And it's been fun. We get a lot of really unique responses. We get some like you where you love it. You're like, this is great. And some people you can tell they're just kind of like, they kind of cringe a little bit. And I was like, you know what, whatever.
Yeah,
So everyone's
it's a word.
different.
It's a good word,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's a good play of words. It mixes in well.
Mhm.
I mean, kind of even going off of that, what like are there moments where you guys are like, okay, we have to talk about, witchcraft and the magic aspect of Star Wars? Like, we are the Bitches of Dathomir. We have to talk about, the witches and Mother Talzin, Morgan Elsbeth. Like,
Anytime we get a chance to talk about it, we will. But I think because we are so print media focused, we are primarily on the print media and High Republic, which is pretty much what we're talking about currently. And anytime we do see a witch or any sort of like force user that's not a Jedi, we get super excited and deep dive into that storytelling aspect. And but yeah, I mean, I guess it would have made a little bit more sense if we were like, oh, here we are, the archivists, and we've talked about like maybe rebranding and changing our name to something like that. But I don't know. It just, this name has stuck for a while and I'm enjoying it.
yeah, it's really cool. And especially for me being an outsider. I mean, like I said before, like I've seen you guys on Andy's podcast, and, I chimed in a little bit on Spotify to, kind of see your guys' brand. And I mean, it
Hmm.
seems to work really well. And plus, I mean,
Thanks.
I'm no expert. I'm not a Joe Rogan of the podcast universe, but I mean, you can
Hmm.
always tell a good podcast from, kind of just, some people just hanging out and just, recording themselves, which, hey, more power to you, because that's basically what I do too. But I mean,
Hmm.
you guys have more of like a premise, and especially with the High Republic, I have no
Hmm.
idea about that. I'm actually one of my friends, shout out Commander J Bricks. He is a very big Knights of the Old Republic guy, and he's actually been doing some lore videos, and this is getting me into that universe for him. So I mean,
Cool.
and I hate to say it too, is I'm just not a big bookworm.
That's
I've
fair.
one book. You should like this. It's a Dark Disciple. So I get
Nice.
the good
Hmm.
background of Asajj Ventress, and he's not number one, but he is a real close second behind Obi-Wan Kenobi. Quinlan Voss, amazing.
Hmm.
We'll talk about cosplay here in a little bit, but that
Sure.
Chimere and Quinlan Voss have to be on my list to do some cosplay. So
Oh my God. Yes. I love this idea.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
cool.
I need to do it. But yeah, I mean, the High Republic is something I really don't know too much about. The Acolyte was really the only thing that kind of showed me a little bit of the light. Um,
Hmm.
so, I mean, yeah, that's really cool. I need to dabble in a little bit more and kind of start from the
Yeah.
beginning
Well,
with you.
I mean, do you enjoy audiobooks?
Yes. So I've
That's a
read
good way to
Dark
get into
Disciple.
books. Mhm.
Yes. Yes. I've read Dark Disciple, and I was like, really cool, but I ended
Mhm.
up listening on Audible with the audiobook, and Mark Thompson, I've heard his name everywhere, and I'm
Love
like,
him.
oh my God, this dude is like all of the hype, like
Uh-huh.
absolutely gave me an entirely different idea and scenery. Like he painted an image of Dark Disciple in a way that I didn't know how to read. So
Mhm.
huge shout out to him and what they're doing with the crew over there. But I have definitely really wanted to dabble in more with the Audible. I mean, plus they give you like a free credit a month, so it's like, hey,
Mhm.
it's gonna take me a while to listen to it, so I might as well just start in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what I really like about the Star Wars audiobooks is that not only do they have like Mark Thompson, who's a wonderful narrator, but also I really enjoy all of the sound effects in the background.
Mm,
I know some people can get overwhelmed and say that, like, oh, it's too overstimulating, but I love it. It just makes me feel like I'm so immersed into the universe. And yeah, the stories are so great. So if you get a chance to do the audiobooks for the High Republic, I highly recommend it.
yeah. See, and every time I talk with someone new, especially for Star Wars, they always tend to put me on to something new. Um,
Yeah.
I like to think that I'm pretty weathered with Star Wars, lore. I really like
Sure.
to dabble with theories. I'm always thinking, like every single day, I'm thinking of like, oh, how can Moff Gideon still be alive? Grogu could be the
Mhm.
next Tar Vizsla. Like I'm thinking of these things all the time. So it's just like I need a branch outside of episode, or from the Acolyte now to Rise of Skywalker, and then Starfighter comes out in a couple of years, so that'll be the furthest
Mhm.
down the timeline. So I need to go outside a little bit there because I have really not heard anything bad about the High Republic. Explore the
Oh, cool.
Forts. They do a lot of High Republic reading. They're always up to date, and they always tell me I need to read. I know everybody. I know I need to read. But the audiobooks are amazing because I can just throw those
Mhm.
on in the background.
Totally.
So yeah, I absolutely love it. I think the Acolyte painted a good picture, like I mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, for the High Republic. So that's all I know.
Sure.
Um, so I'm getting a little taste here, but I would definitely love to go back and just kind of capture that whole thing because there's plenty of story there.
Absolutely, and I find that I feel that if you liked The Acolyte, you will absolutely love The High Republic because it just delves more into that era, and because I feel like with The Acolyte, it was kind of at the tail end of The High Republic, so there are already some, like, Skywalker Jedi traits that were very present, whereas, like, the High Republic era is just, like, so much more glorious and glamorous, and yeah, and to your point too earlier where you were saying that like every day someone's suggesting something new about Star Wars, and even though you're so well ingrained into Star Wars, and I think that's one of my favorite things about Star Wars is that there are just so many different offshoots and so many different like books and like comics and like things to get into. It's like it's never ending. It can be overwhelming, but at the same time I love it. It's there's just so much to learn and to know. It's great.
Yeah, and that's always the best thing is, like Star Wars, there's so much division sometimes, and it's just like, why? It doesn't have to be this way, because
Mhm.
there's so many things that you can be into, like Rise of Skywalker, for instance, we talked about
Yeah.
a little bit off camera, and it's just like, yeah, like this is a really good trilogy, and I mean, it's just give it a little bit longer, give it a couple more years, it'll age, better. I mean, you can even look
Mhm.
at the prequel trilogy. A lot of fans didn't really like it until the Clone Wars came out to kind of enhance that story, from
Absolutely.
Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith. So I mean, you kind of just got to look what Star Wars has done in the past, and I mean, history repeats itself. So I mean, I'm never worried
Mhm.
about what people don't like because that's okay. We don't have to love
Yeah,
it all, but
exactly.
I'm always an advocate, just be respectful. You
Yeah.
don't have to hate on the internet, that's a weird thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, 100%.
Cool.
I, uh, I am super excited right now to ask you
Okay.
the first cosplay question because outside of seeing you on Andy's podcast,
Mhm.
I feel like I have seen your Ventress cosplay before, and I know you know exactly which one I'm talking about. It's the
Mhm.
purple laced Ventress, which is insane to be talking about this right now, September of 2025, because last
Mhm.
month in the Lego universe, we got a V19 turret Lego set, and that featured the first ever Asajj Ventress that you cosplayed in a minifigure form. So a lot of Lego fans, like me and myself, I
Mhm.
haven't picked the setup yet. I will. But that minifig is easily the best Asajj Ventress, and it's kind of crazy. I think that you and Lego need to do something to be like, hey,
Oh, I love this
minifig
idea.
out the window a little bit more because I mean, look, I did it first basically. Um,
Yeah.
but what was your first idea with that outfit? And like what was the first piece going into that?
Oh my goodness. There's so many aspects of that costume. And anytime I start a new costume, I tend to do a lot of research. And that's going to where does this costume come from? So with Asajj Ventress in that costume, it's all of Clone Wars. And so I would watch a lot of Clone Wars episodes and take screenshots and really get an idea for like the movement of the costume, as well as try to pick up on some texture details. And so unfortunately, like the Clone Wars is an older series, and especially that purple outfit is so especially some of the earlier seasons. So the CGI is not the best, so you can't get a clear understanding of what sort of textiles you'll get from that. So that's where my starting point is. I do reference the 501st. They've got their character reference library, and I'll look at those. Although oddly on their page it says that her outfit is like a deep navy blue, not a purple. So I want to talk to whoever wrote that because I've got questions. But other than that, like, gosh, I'll look at the skirt. So I actually have done several changes with that skirt. The first version, it was a velvet, a stretch velvet, because the original is supposed to be like a crushed velvet, and I hate crushed velvet. It's like has a if you think of like Spirit Halloween costumes, crushed velvet is like the number one texture, like the
Like
textile in
so
there.
like rough.
It's not. It's just very cheap looking and just like it doesn't look have that correct sheen to it. So I like threw that idea out of the window. Did not want to do that at all.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the hardest, actually, there were several hard, really tough aspects. One was her top. So she's got the cutout in the front, and then her whole back is pretty much open. So the first version of that, I didn't make the back open. I basically just went to Amazon and found a shirt with a cutout, dyed it the correct shade of purple, and was like, this is great, good to go. I tend to like do mix and match between things that I purchase and can dye or alter to my uses, or some things if I can't do that, then I'll make it myself. So like the second version of my Ventress costume, I had actually stitched myself and was able to get it so that it had the open back. And then of course the big one is she has no hair, and I have like fairly long
You
hair.
didn't shave. You didn't shave, right?
I did not shave. I was very tempted to, though. That was so difficult. I have never done a bald cap before. And the first iteration, I had used a latex bald cap, and I hated it because I was not able to fix the line.
Mm.
And then the next one I did was a Glatson. I can't remember the word, but it's a like a plastic, a very very thin sheet of plastic, and you can melt the edges so that it looks a lot more streamlined between your skin and where the bald cap starts. So
Oh
I
wow.
learned a lot about bald cap, like, and all the different kinds. And unfortunately with bald caps too, they're one of those things where you use it once and you have to throw it away. And these are not cheap. Like a really nice quality bald cap is like anywhere between $20 to $30. And so you just like, okay, take that. Bye.
Wow.
And then I even went down a rabbit hole of like, can I make these? And I bought all the things to try and make it. And I have not figured out how to make it. It's very challenging. So whomever makes their own bald caps, like props to them. That's very, very impressive. One of the fun things, or what I really love about cosplay, is all the different things you can learn, from like making your own bald caps to makeup techniques to different texture styles to 3D printing and resin cast and painting and leather work. And so it's just, I'm constantly learning and I love it.
Yeah, that's the best part, I feel like, is just getting, I mean, going forward, if you're doing extra cosplays like down the road, I mean, you've already, been through those trials, of error
Hmm.
in some instances, or just minor tweaks or even major tweaks that you need to make the next cosplay perfect. So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's cool. You kind of go through all of that. And plus, like the self research, like that is probably the craziest part to me, because I am such a let me like if I want to recreate anything myself, I'm just like I have to see it in hand, and then like can I go on Etsy or can I get on Reddit and see like what people did for theirs, you know? So
Mhm.
I'm I mean that's even what I'm doing with for Halloween. I want to dress up like the crow from
Nice.
94 crow. The new one I don't think I can, pull that off with my shirt off all the time. Um,
I never saw the newer Crow. I've seen the 94 Crow.
Yeah, the newer one's cool, Bill
Mhm.
Skarsgård, love him to death, I think he's
Yeah.
awesome. Luthen Rail's son, for anyone who, didn't know that fun fact, Stellan
Yep.
Skarsgård,
Mhm.
is Pennywise's dad, the new Crow 2024. But yeah, I'm
Mhm.
talking Brandon Lee, Crow, who is, the son of Bruce Lee, who is Diana Lee Inosanto's, godfather, who is also a witch of Dathomir. How cool is
Love
that?
it. Yeah.
It full circle. But
Totally.
yeah, I'm wanting to cosplay as that for Halloween. But I have already been down so many Reddit rabbit holes of like, ooh, what texture of like tight black top should I get or like bottoms? And I actually
Mhm.
have made the transition from like slim fit straight jeans to actually baggy. So like I'm a cool kid now.
Nice.
But it's just like I don't know if I want to put on like skinny black pants again. I'm not in high school. I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm gonna have to execute it.
That's totally valid. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I usually, when I go through my own personal research and I run into snags or something that I'm just not quite too sure about, Reddit is fantastic. I'll look at Reddit too and see what other people have done. YouTube videos is another good resource.
Yeah.
Also, so many people at some point have done a costume. Although to be fair, there aren't as many Asajj Ventress costumes, especially how to make Asajj Ventress costumes out there, which is unfortunate, but it's okay.
That is unfortunate, but I mean, at
Mhm.
least the first hand going into it.
Mhm.
But I mean, what did it feel like, walking around it was like the amusement park, what was that like for you? And I could also tell that you were being very like, like grouchy, kind of like Asajj is, like in the Clone Wars. So like, were people just like, yo, what is she doing? Or did you ever have any encounters like that?
It's funny because, like, I was so in the moment that I didn't really see too many of the peripheral. A lot of it was like people around me or behind me would like make comments, and definitely like so. I got ready in our hotel, which was not the Disneyland hotel. It was some other one, and so we had to walk down the main street to get to Disneyland. So that in itself was hilarious. But surprisingly, Asajj Ventress is such a well liked and well recognized character that I got a lot of really great reception and a lot of people like wanting to take photos and were shouting like, "Oh, Ventress!" and things like that.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I loved being grumpy at Disneyland. I felt like Asajj Ventress would hate Disneyland. And so the idea of her just like walking around and being like, ugh, what are these balloons doing here? And like, ugh, why am I on a carousel?
That is
Yeah, it
hilarious.
was it was so much fun. Yeah, it was good.
Man, that's such an experience in itself. I mean, I've, never been to Disneyland. I would love to get there one day. But I mean, who would ever imagine a Saz Ventress like riding the Millennium Falcon? I mean, no one in their lives would ever, think of such things. But I mean, that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Thank
I
you.
just I really loved the like the grumpiness. I thought that was just like a
Hmm.
really good touch to it.
Thanks.
And I mean, it definitely got the love it deserved. So I mean, hey, you did something right there. Um,
Thank you.
would you ever and this Asajj is great. I mean, it's one of my favorites. Like I said, I love the Lego minifig, easily the
Hmm.
best one. But would you ever consider doing like a Tales of the Underworld or the Bad Batch version of Asajj
Hmm.
Ventress?
Absolutely. And it's been on my mind. Um, I'm kind of weird in that I oddly will make sure I have the correct lightsabers before I even start a costume. So one of the tragedies with that Asajj Ventress at Disneyland was my lightsabers broke and I sent them to the person who did my install work. So that's been a very long struggle
Mm.
to try and get those fixed. So I didn't have them then. But part of my hesitation with moving on to the Bad Batch and Tales of the Underworld, Asajj Ventress, is that she has a completely new lightsaber and I have to purchase it first. And it has to be the perfect one. It can't be like this cheap one. So I'm just like, I put these things on my head that are super annoying. And I also have this long list of other costumes that I have to work on, but I do really want to work on that. And I've already like in my head, in the back of my head, done my own personal research. I like, this is what the wig is going to look like. And this is what the texture of her tunic is going to look like. And these are the types of pants she's going to wear and the boots. And so it's just a matter of like, it's not will I, it's when will I make that costume.
Awesome. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I love Asajj too, but like for me personally, the time she's with, Quinlan is like
Mhm.
the Asajj I like, the most.
Absolutely.
So I'm just like, she's got to have the little, the bangs out.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, Tales of the Underworld, that absolutely just it was out of the ballpark for me. I thought it was absolutely amazing. It was one of the only stories that was like left wide open to where they can continue somehow. Which I really hope we get more. Quinlan Voss, Asajj together. I think.
Me
I mean,
too.
hot take. This could be maybe the best couple in Star Wars. I mean, Han and Leia, cool. I feel like they had some very toxic times, and
Mhm.
you really see that in the Force Awakens. That
Yep.
just their interactions and just seemed a little toxic at times.
Mhm.
Anakin and Padme was cut short. Started kind of weird when you like grow up and think about it. You're like, oh, very interesting how they started, but okay, cool. So
Uh-huh.
like here's Luke and Leia now. So um, yeah, I think Quinlan and Asajj could definitely be like the power couple of the galaxy. I mean,
Yeah.
Cassian and Bix maybe, but I mean that was cut short. What could have been, I guess, but yeah,
Oh,
Quinlan and
totally.
Asajj all day.
For me, the one that comes to mind first is Kanan and Hera. I think they're an amazing couple. Um,
How could I forget?
Probably one of the healthiest. The other one I'd say is a character or two characters from the High Republic, but I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to spoil it for you when you will
Okay,
read the High or listen to the High Republic audiobooks.
perfect. And so
Mhm.
how early is this couple?
Not early at all. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. So I got a
Mhm.
long train to go. Okay, cool,
Yeah, yeah.
cool. Mental
Mhm.
mental note. Got it.
Yep, yep.
So yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the newer Asajj is definitely one. I mean, I haven't seen anyone cosplay. It doesn't mean that no one has done it, but I mean, Asajj, better than most. Obviously, I
Mhm.
mean, doing everything yourself. I feel like that one would be really cool. Plus the yellow lightsaber. I am a huge fan of the yellow lightsaber. Ray.
Mhm.
There's
Yep.
some concept art of Plo Koon having
Mhm.
one. Yord and the Acolyte and other
The temple
named Jedi.
guards.
Yeah, the Temple
Mhm.
Guards. I mean, it's a beautiful lightsaber color. And Asajj carrying that is just even more badass.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, and especially since, like, you know where she came from and what she went
yeah,
through, and the fact that she not only was able to work through all of that and to eventually come through with the yellow lightsaber, I feel like it just signifies so much.
yeah. It is very amazing. And I really love that in the Bad Batch season 3 when they like brought her into that final trailer, it was just more like pandemonium because it's like, whoa, how is she alive? Oh my god, Disney retconned another thing.
I know.
So it was like that big uproar, and it's just like the way it was executed was so perfect, bringing
Mhm.
her back. And it was one of those Bad Batch things where it's like, oh yeah, you get an episode. That's all you get. Just like Fennec, even though she was in season 2, came back for season 3. I mean, it's always the good characters that get the short amount of time. But I mean, the yellow lightsaber in the trailer, I almost just like fell to the floor, just like arms
Mhm.
wide open, just like they did it. They
I
absolutely
know.
did it.
I kind of wish they didn't include her in the trailer because I it would have been a more fun surprise, at least for me, to just also be like, "Oh my god, who is that?" but I do enjoy like the surprises within the episodes rather than putting things into trailers. I'm almost to
Mm.
the point where like I don't often watch trailers for that reason because I don't like spoilers. But I do know like the hype for having Asajj Ventress come back was just unbelievable. And I was one of them, even though she was in the trailer. I don't care.
Yes, that was I feel like the trailers, I'm kind of the same way. There's especially like some the trailers I will always watch are horror films. I will always absolutely watch the trailer just because I feel like horror trailers are known to not give out the entire premise. It's always just a,
Absolutely.
a jump scare here and there with very dramatic music, and then it's just like, oh, how are these people getting away? Now with Star Wars, it's a little different. You kind of get like a very very short version of like a recap. So like Andor
Hmm.
season 2 wasn't as dramatic as Andor season 1 because it's like, oh, like I saw everything from every episode in this little trailer. um
Totally.
Bad Batch is the same way.
Hmm.
The Kenobi series was another one. I feel like you got like a good like 10 to 15 seconds from like each episode, and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
you've seen everything except for the final duel with Vader and Kenobi. And one that
Totally.
always throws me off was The Rise of Skywalker. So I wasn't I was into Star Wars, but I kind of was like in an area where I wasn't watching it as much as I used to or as I do now. So I mean, this is like right before COVID, and I remember I bought tickets to go to the viewing the next morning, and I saw a Reddit thread talking about how Palpatine returned, and
Oh.
I was like, "Whoa, wait a second." I was like, "There's no way. That's not real."
Hmm.
Um, and then, Twitter, you find everything out on Twitter. I'm on there,
Yeah.
kind of looking. I was just like, "Man, everyone is talking about Palpatine," but it wasn't from like any verified accounts, nothing. So I was like, "Oh, whatever, whatever." So I go to
Hmm.
the movie the next day, and right when he pulls up the Exegol, I was like, "No shit, Palpatine is back."
Oh.
So that was calm at least because
Uh-huh.
I can't even remember who I was talking to, just a couple months ago. I think, like, on a live stream. I really can't remember which
Mhm.
one of the boys was talking, but they're just like, "Dude, how do you not remember seeing Palpatine in the trailer?" And I'm like, "Dude, like, I didn't watch it. I was just not in the area of watching trailers. I would go to the movie
Mhm.
still, but, like, that really did throw me off. I was like, "Oh, yeah, Palpatine is in this movie."
Yeah. Oh my god, totally. And yeah, during that time too when I watched that movie, I watched it the day that it came out and I don't even remember if I watched the trailer because I also am very like cautious about them. But I feel like I just like walked it into it completely blind. So I was in the seat of like, oh my God, he's
Yeah.
back and he's in this creepy chair. Hate that.
Yeah, that was a very, very creepy, movie. I will say,
Hmm.
it's kind of funny how that organically just like fell into line because I was just gonna ask you what some of your favorite movies were. So I know that we talked about the sequels a little bit, but
Hmm.
what is your favorite of the sequel trilogy? We can kind of start there.
Ooh, I feel like The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker are tied in my mind. I love them both for different reasons so much. Like I love Old Man Luke, and this comes from a original trilogy. I love Luke girl, so um, there's none of that. So I know a lot of people are like, you only like Old Man Luke because you didn't like Luke in the original trilogy. Not here. Um, so
That's not Luke. Yeah.
yes. Um, so those two are tied in my mind. I think what I love so much about the Rise of Skywalker is the eventual like dyads coming together. You've got Ben Solo and Rey being able to like work together. Like I that's my favorite part of Star Wars, and I wish we had so much more of that. Um, yeah. So those 2. Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely was on team Force Awakens at the beginning. I mean, God, it was so good to get back into the theater. I remember the uproar of the Millennium
Mhm.
Falcon on Jakku. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's back!" And that was probably the loudest movie I've ever been in. And I've been in
Oh,
some like
cool.
big movies. So like that is a really cool like memory of mine, especially with the sequel trilogy. Um, the Last Jedi was definitely like the slowest. I feel for a theater presence, anyways. It was just kind of more
Mhm.
of like, oh, we're really telling the story, and then when you go back and look, like, oh, Ryan Johnson did this one. He was like in the split between, J.J. Abrams doing 7 and 9. You get that
Mhm.
different pacing,
Mhm.
which is very well needed for the story. I absolutely adore the sequels. They have like the biggest like soft spot in my heart.
Mhm.
Um, it's just they're really good. I have a good connection to them. Rise of Skywalker is amazing too. You
Mhm.
bring up that Force dyad, and it was something that was like sprinkled in episode 7 and 8, and you're just like, what is this? Like, why can they see each other? It's
Mhm.
it's not really explained. Is Rey actually like Kenobi's daughter? Like those early.
Yeah.
You're like, what is going on?
Uh-huh.
Um, and then just knowing that Ben Solo is, Luke's nephew, and you really get to see that connection and that relationship. And I just absolutely always love the connection of the three different scenes showing, Kylo or Ben at Luke's academy, and everyone was like
Mhm.
so confused by the three. And it's like, well, there's a real story, and then there's a POV from each. So there's your three.
Yep.
Um, I think that is just insane. Like they're painting a picture for you, and it's very simple to follow. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, this is like so genius to me. um
Mhm.
I absolutely love those little things in the sequels, but the Force dyad, amazing. I really hope
Mhm.
the Ray film that they really just kind of enhance that Force dyad a little bit more, even though Ben's gone, could
Yeah.
still be around. So we'll see how that plays out, but I would just love to see more of that connection, because it is really nice.
Me too. Yeah, I'm not too sure how they would go about doing that, but I would absolutely love to see the dyad aspect continued on in the new Ray movie. That would be so cool.
Yeah, I agree, because there's there's so much more, and I'm one of those in the corner of like, hey, the Clone Wars enhanced the prequel trilogy. So I
Mhm.
know we have Star Wars Resistance, and it's a different kind of theme for Star Wars.
It is, yeah.
I There's some things in it that I enjoy, but at the same time, we could really get like a Clone Wars style story of the sequels. Like, I mean, we could really fill in the gaps. We could talk about, the First Order finally forming and coming together. And I mean, we see little trickles of that even in the Mandoverse. Um,
Mhm.
with Moff Gideon and the little Shadow Council. And I mean, Thrawn's back in the picture. So who says that Thrawn doesn't really start the First Order, So um
Yeah. That would
getting an
be so
animated
cool.
yes, absolutely. Getting an animated series that takes place, let's say between episode 7 and 8, we get some flashbacks. This would do justice for those characters like Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren,
Mhm.
Rey, to show that she's not just a Mary Sue and is just like this random superwoman character. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's just like looking at Darth Maul and Count Dooku from the prequel trilogy. Is these characters, they have a big presence, but they're very limited. I mean, Maul is shown what, like a total of 5 minutes until he ends up with the I think until he kills Qui-Gon. So I mean,
Uh-huh.
there's and then he gets cut in half, falls, and you never hear about him again in the movies. But here
That's
comes the
true.
Clone Wars. He's back, and
Mhm.
me at like 15, 16 years old, I'm like, that's not right, So like, I
Oh,
get
that's
the people
funny.
who
So
don't like, and it comes together.
that's fair. It's also that's so funny that you said that about how you watch the prequels and then went straight into Clone Wars. I didn't watch Clone Wars until after definitely at least after Solo. And I remember going and watching the very end of Solo and Darth Maul showing up, and I was just like, it blew my mind. And no one else was freaking out. And I was like, I'm missing something important here. And that's how
Mhm.
I discovered the Clone Wars. And I was like, oh, there's this amazing story in this animated series. And ever since then, I've been so obsessed. I love it. It's so good.
It is so, so good. And like, that's the thing, like, with Solo, even like, they didn't have to throw him in, but they chose
Mm-hmm.
to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really cool to know, like, we're getting Maul Shadow Lord next year. So it's just like
Yes.
tying in all of these loose ends.
Can't
Um,
wait.
yeah. So it's like, just continue to talk about these characters, and I feel like the sequel trilogy could definitely 1000% get work done.
Yeah, and they are. I well, bleh. You said that you don't like to read books. Do you also not like to read comics as well?
So I have seen a lot of this Vader
Uh-huh.
comic
Yes, that's
and
exactly what I was going to mention. The, Legacy of Vader by Charles
Legacy.
Soule is
Mhm.
amazing, and it's doing a lot of work talking about, Kylo Ren and what happens to him, and this is in between, 8 and 9, and, like, where his mindset is after killing Snoke, and it's fantastic, and it does a lot of, like, tying into the sequels really, really well and answering some of those questions. I love it.
So, do you own physical copies of these?
I own physical and digital copies because I like to do both.
What Okay, so I'm like I said, I'm suckered in now. So like are we is it better to have digital? Is it better, I know you like both, or
Mhm.
to have physical?
So I like to support my local comic shop. So I buy physical copies. I like to collect all the different covers. But I also like to be able to reference these comics on my phone as well. So it's all on my Kindle app, which is on my phone. So I can just pop up and be like, aha, look, this is, oh, it never sends me to the front page of this. So annoying. Or like, here we are, Legacy of Vader, the latest issue, which is great.
So fire.
So great. And so I have a lot of comics, like a lot of my High Republic comics are on here. I've got the omnibus High Republic comics on here, which is just like, I don't know, sometimes I ask, like, or someone asks me a question, I just want to reference the answer and I know exactly like which comic issue and where it is. And so it's nice to have it on my phone for that reason. Um, but yeah, I do like physical copies too. So I don't know.
So how much do these run?
They run a comic is usually $4 a piece.
You for real? It's only $4?
Yeah, $4 or $5. Yeah, it's really cheap for one issue comic. Now, if you want like a collection, there's the trade paperbacks, which tend to run like $19, $20 or so. You could probably buy a used one for less. Now, the omnibus, which is the ones that have like the whole complete series from whichever, those tend to run like around $100, if not more, if they're more valuable. Like the Charles Soule Vader series, like I want to say that one you can't purchase anymore, the physical copy. So you'd have to like buy it on eBay for hundreds of dollars because resale value is insane.
Damn.
Hmm.
Okay. And then so how thick are the comics? Is it just like your standard comic? Is it only just like
Yeah, it's your standard comic. There's, oh, I don't know. Let's see what this says on my Kindle app. There are 24 pages. Is that right?
oh dude. That's man,
I
because
know.
that's the thing is like I'll get on Instagram, or yeah, or even Twitter, and like I see people talking Legacy of Vader,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, okay, cool. Like you get, some covers, it's like really badass artwork, and it's like
Mhm.
Vader, and then of course, like now I feel like lately I've just been seeing so much like Kylo Ren, and I'm like, wait a second, like
Yeah.
who's printing this Kylo Ren stuff? Because I thought everyone hated this.
Mhm.
So I'm just like, dude, this is insane. And then I saw Grayson from Mortis FM was posting, like the newest issue, and I'm like, wait a damn second. So like this
Yeah.
one is talking about a female Ren that's like
Uh-huh.
within, and I'm like, what in the world? Like
She's
I
so
need to get
cool
on this.
looking. Yeah.
Man, so I'm just like I'm definitely missing out, and that's what always sucks too is like for me, like I said, I'm not the biggest bookworm. So
Mhm.
it's just like I have no desire that's like not anywhere close to what I'm looking for. But I mean, even like Dark Disciple, like I got that for $8 at my Books a Million. So it's
Perfect.
just like
Mhm.
it's nothing crazy. It's not going to break you. And most of the times, I mean, you can find these books with the 25 to 30% off sticker even at Target.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's very much affordable. But like these comics, they look good. They're short,
Mhm.
and it's
Mhm.
like over a character like I'm very into. Yeah, sign me up.
Yes.
So would these be available at Books a Million?
Ooh. I am not too sure about that. I have my local comic shop, and is Books a Million also a? I'm actually not too familiar with this. This is a physical store or is it an online store?
Yeah, they have a physical. It's like I would say it's like a. It's not like Barnes and Noble where it's
Yeah.
massive, but it's just like a very small, like little typical mall slot
Hmm.
for a little bookstore. But I mean, they have a lot of good
Okay.
stuff.
Do they have comics there?
See, now that's the thing is I can't remember if they
Okay.
have comics or not. I mean, I could see them maybe having some like anime comics here and there.
That sounds about right. I feel like most bookstores have um like the manga, and then they have the trade paperback comics, which are like the collections, not the current single issues that you could get at a comic book shop. So
Mm,
I highly recommend checking out, doing a Google search of local comic books, bookshops, and then from there getting a pull list. Because a lot of the times, what I have noticed is that I would go to my comic shop the day that a comic would come out, and they'd already be sold out. But if you tell your comic book shop that you're interested in a particular series, they'll order that for you and set it aside, so I can go there whenever I want to, when I have time, and then just go pick up my stack of different comics and I go home and do a lot of
man.
reading.
That's fire. Yeah, I need to get
Hmm.
on that. I've already got a Google search open, and this is actually a place that I've actually never heard of. But I
Oh,
know
yay.
it's across from one of the high schools, so absolutely, I'm gonna have to check that out because
Nice.
I'm already way in too deep thinking about High Republic, but now it's just like, okay, hold on a second, we got some Kylo Ren, and it's also like
Hmm.
short form, and it would probably look good just in the collection somewhere. So
Totally. And this just started. There's only 8 issues. So you're at a really good spot to join that
yeah,
one. Hmm.
good time to chime in. I mean, might as
Yeah,
well.
totally.
Okay, so outside of the sequel trilogy, I feel like we can talk about Kylo Ren much longer,
Yeah.
um, which is okay. But I
Hmm.
also want to know. You mentioned that you're, an older Luke fan as well.
Hmm.
Back from the original trilogy. What are some like standout characters for you that kind of like mold you into like the person you are? I know it's kind of like a weird question, but I always like to ask
Yeah.
what kind of characters kind of like fall in line with you. Maybe like a Boba
Hmm.
Fett, you're mysterious, you're soft spoken.
Hmm.
Omega, maybe, you're in everyone's business. Like what characters, shape you?
You know, I feel like that if you were to ask me that question at different eras of my life, it would change because growing up, I was definitely a Luke Skywalker girly that that's who I thought was the coolest person ever. And I wanted to be just like him, which was nice when I had Reyes. I was like, oh, yay, I can be like, there's another woman who has the same like thought processes as me. Yeah, I think from the originals, I love Luke Skywalker. But molding me as a person, I don't know. Because I kind of like a variety of different characters. Obviously, Asajj Ventress is so pivotal. I think I also tend to gravitate towards morally gray characters. Um, I just find them really fascinating and like their tragic backstories and how it shapes them and how they are able to work through some of those traumas to eventually become incredible people. And I like that struggle. I feel like that is a little bit more relatable for me now as an adult, whereas like before, like this perfect human being who had no flaws. But haha, watch the sequels and now he does. um, yeah. So I think I have a harder time relating to like picture perfect characters. If you ever read The High Republic, one of the characters I really struggled with at first was Avar Kriss. She was like the perfect Jedi, like never made mistakes and always did the right thing. But as you read more about her character, she really goes through some trials that really bring her down, and I really
Mm,
like how she handles those, and that became one of my favorite characters because of that.
wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So no Anakin Skywalker tactics here with
N
with this character, right?
No, no Anakin Skywalkers. He's probably
Good.
one of my least favorite characters, not gonna lie.
And, I feel like most people would be like, "How dare you?" Like,
I
"What do you
know.
mean Anakin Skywalker?"
Uh-huh.
But when you look at him, he's a very, he was kinda set up for failure, but he'd never ever helped himself out in any
Mhm.
way. But at the same time, I mean, Anakin was my everything growing up. Got to meet
Totally.
Hayden Christensen. I'm like, "Man,
Mhm.
this is," that was, I'll never forget that. But I mean,
I love that.
absolutely 100%. Yes, I
Yeah.
get it. I feel like I can get why a lot of people don't like Han Solo and why they
Mhm.
love Han Solo. I mean, for most characters, I get it for the most part. Um, me and me and one of my Lego groups were actually talking about how Yoda is just like this absolutely flawed Jedi.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just like one of those very, touchy subjects where you're like, do we go this route? Because this could definitely like spark up some controversy within the Star Wars universe, and especially with the Acolyte ending. I always bring it up. I feel like Vernestra was gonna tell him some, like a bullshit lie, like, "Oh,
Mhm.
Soul ended up doing this," and he's like, "No, I know exactly what happened, but we're not gonna say anything about it." I just 1000% feel like that was what's gonna happen.
If you enjoy that sentiment, you will really enjoy the High Republic because it's interesting to see how Yoda handles a lot of the villains that the Jedi encounter, and like his response is amazing. And I agree. So I it's so funny. Like I remember the original series loved Yoda, and then prequels I was like, oh, he's making some poor life choices, and I was like, not my favorite kind of character. And then sequels, oh, he's great again. And so it definitely ebbs and flows. And I remember reading the High Republic too, and like there were some things that he choices he made, and I was like, why are you doing this? But I feel like the last book I read with him in it was so like life altering and made me back into I love Yoda, he's the best. But he's a
That's
complex character, and I love the complexity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And see, and that's like another thing with like Yoda. I feel like I know so much about him from, can't really say the Acolyte, but for sure episode 1 to
Hmm.
episode 9, even, like where, or was it, yeah, the Last Jedi, when he talks to Luke. Like, that's a crazy like dynamic for such an older character, to
Hmm.
be kind of stretched out through almost every episode of Star Wars. Very,
Yeah.
very interesting. So I mean, yeah, there's a whole other hundreds of years where, Yoda is like, would you say Yoda is like in his prime during the High Republic, or is he just like
No,
getting
because
out
it's
of
only
it, getting
200
into it?
years prior to the Skywalker saga. So he's 800 years, right? So I feel like he's like middle aged, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Hmm.
Okay, so that would make sense. So he's still like, so is he Grandmaster at this time?
Yes, he is.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
So he's been Grandmaster for, just a couple hundred years,
Yeah, no
nothing
big
crazy.
deal.
Um, love to see Qui-Gon do that. But yeah, I
uh,
mean, that's really
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So I gotta gravitate. I
Hmm.
finally just have to lock in and do it. I'm always my biggest enemy, trying to get into these,
I get
new
that.
stories. It's,
Hmm.
it's hard for me, but it's literally just me being lazy and not getting into it.
It's hard, especially when you have all of these Star Wars characters that you know and love, and you know that there's more stories out there that you can continue to read and learn more about those characters. And it's hard to like take a whole new set of characters and take that jump and like learn everything there is to know about it. I mean, I said Yoda was in it, but he plays a relatively small role, and it's really most of these other Jedis that take the forefront, and you're gonna have to like know who they are and how they think and why they do the things they do. And yeah, I get the hesitation, and I've run into this with several Star Wars fans, and I
Mm,
get it. It's understandable.
yeah. I I just gotta lock in, Rachel. That's what I have to do.
Okay, you've got
It's
this.
the force is talking to me. I have to do it. Um, but I will say, I can't lie to you. I'm got this tab open over here that I will be leaving open for these
Okay.
Vader, Legacy of Vader comics. I
Yes.
gotta get these.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be reaching out to the local comic book store. We have to get these going.
Yay.
But to kind of wrap this up, what if you want to, share this. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
in secret or in code, but who is your next character that you will cosplay, whether it's in 3 years, next week, 2 months? What
Yeah.
character or characters do you have next for yourself?
So my next character I will be cosplaying is Bo-Katan. I'm going to be working on her Mandalorian season 3 look. So the one with the really cool mythosaur shoulder armor
Yes.
piece. Yes,
Yes.
she's so cool. I already have the dark saber. Again, back to the I need the lightsaber before I can start a costume. And I've been working on this costume for 5 years, and part of the reasons why it's taken me so long is that all of these other costumes have like popped up. And so I've kind of had to put her on the back burner because she takes so long and she costs so much money. It's really amazing. I'm also trying to make this a 501st approved costume. And so I've been really spending a lot of extra time and finances toward it. But she's almost done. I have the armor. I just purchased armor from Dan Betters. I think he's the armor foundry and he makes incredible work. So I'm really excited to get that coming in. But I've got her flight suit and her boots and belt and blasters that I do need to paint, but that's for another day. But yeah, it's another one where it was just like lots of research and I love it. I love the research phase. I could probably research how to make costumes all day long.
Wow, that
Mhm.
is amazing. Because
Yeah.
for me, Mando season 3 was at first I was like, "Ah, man, this just wasn't what I was expecting," and that can be the worst enemy, going into new projects or anything or continued series. I was just like, "Man, it's not, what I expected," but I after watching it the second time, I'm like, "This is almost Bo-Katan's story," and you get to
Mhm.
really understand that it's not just the Mandalorian, it's like the Mandalorians. So you
Totally.
get to see almost everyone's like POV, but Bo-Katan just carried that season, and I absolutely love live action Bo-Katan more than Clone Wars,
Mm.
or even her stints in Rebels. I just love Katie Sackhoff and what she's doing with that character. I think she absolutely blows it out the park. And
Totally.
it's one of those characters too that you're just like, I can't hate you. No matter what you
Mhm.
do, you will forever be, just flawless to me. So that
Mhm.
is really, really cool that that's your next
Thank you.
um cosplay, and especially season 3, because I mean
Yeah.
that was her show basically. So that
Mhm.
is badass.
Yeah, it was I bought the dark saber from Corbantha a couple years ago and I was just like, I need this to be Bo-Katan's costume. And so it was so funny because I think that actually was before season 3. And when I saw that, I was like, well then here's my outfit. I'm definitely gonna do
Yep.
this one. So I'm so excited.
It was destiny. Yeah, it
It
had to
was,
happen.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Hmm.
Well, with that being said, the floor is yours. Just let everyone know, if they don't know you already, where they can find you. What's next for Rachel of Jakku, the Bitches
Hmm.
of Dathomir podcast. Just
Yeah.
like I said, the floor is yours. Let them know.
Great. Yes. So my name is Rachel of Jakku. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. And then I'm also a co host to the Bitches of Dathomir podcast. And you can find us also on Instagram, um, Threads, and TikTok. Wow, that took my brain to like process. um, and yeah, the our podcast is like we had mentioned is a print media podcast. We mostly specialize in the High Republic, and then my personal Rachel of Jakku account is cosplay, Disneyland adventures, and conventions. Um, so a combination of all of those. But yeah, come take a follow.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not following, in the next like 5 minutes after watching this, if you made it this far, I mean, what are you doing? Go follow. Um, Make sure you go check out the Bitches of Dathomir podcast as well. If you're in the High Republic, make sure you dabble in there. I mean, the one episode that I've listened to just previously, this week, actually yesterday at the time of this recording, it was super, super good. It flows really well. And I mean, I had no idea really what they were talking about, but at the same time, it gets you tangled in and you're like, okay. And if you guys watch the episode, the High Republic is loading right now. for me. So make sure you guys go follow them, check them out. And then of course follow Rachel over on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, all of those cool places. But yeah, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much, Brandon. Really appreciate it.